Welcome to Inside Games, the only gaming news show brave enough to actually drop our usual bit, not make dumb jokes at the top of the episode.
Yeah, today's news sucks. Sucks bad. The news, the enormity of it is staggering. Is enormity a word? That seems like an appropriate word for this.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Microsoft announced that they're laying off 10,000 employees across the company, which amounts to less than 5% of the corporation's total workforce somehow. Even worse, this is the third round of layoffs that the tech giant has had since July.
CEO Satya Nadella told employees in a memo that, quote, "I'm confident that Microsoft will emerge from this stronger and more competitive." Oh, of course.
Yeah, boy, if there's one thing that helps at a time like this, it's the CEO, who received a compensation package of $55 million last year. It's the CEO, that CEO, acknowledging that this is a challenging time for each person impacted. That feels good. Feels good to know that.
Does that change the fact that they lost their job? No.
I mean, it doesn't change the fact, but it certainly makes it a lot easier to go down, I'm sure.
No, I don't think so, Lawrence. Okay, but how will this affect Microsoft's gaming division? What does it mean for the future of big Xbox franchises like Halo? And then what even happens next? We'll cover all of it, starting with the news itself.
And when it comes to that first question back there, how much this will affect Xbox? Apparently the answer is a lot. Bloomberg reports that those cuts will impact some of Microsoft's crown jewels, including Bethesda Game Studios, makers of the upcoming Starfield, and 343 Industries, which of course is responsible for the Halo franchise.
Kotaku reported that the Gears of War studio, The Coalition, was also hit by the cuts.
What? I guess rare? There's only a few Obsidian that didn't get hit?
It's everywhere.
Yeah, Microsoft didn't share layoff numbers on a per studio basis. We got to be honest, that would be pretty weird if they did that. But at the moment, the most info we have from both news sources and from current and former employees themselves is about 343 Industries.
Mm-hmm. In an email to staff obtained by Bloomberg, 343 studio head Pierre Hintz said that the company had, quote, "made the difficult decision to restructure elements of our team, which means some roles are being eliminated."
How many is some? Posting on Mastodon, former 343 Industries esports and communities director Che Cho writes that over 60 people were laid off from 343 Industries.
Jeez. Neil Harrison, director of art management at 343, said that 30 people were laid off from the art team alone, including himself. Harrison said he'd spent over a decade building that art team.
And he said that overall layoffs hit 343 hard, with positions impacted across all disciplines. And it wasn't just the fresh hires either. Deep tenure that got lost here. Former lead designer Christopher Blome announced that his 12-year tenure at 343 came to an end on Twitter.
Probably the highest profile departure from 343 was Halo veteran Joseph Staten. He actually worked on the original Halo trilogy at Bungie and then helped develop the expanded narrative of the franchise.
Staten actually departed Bungie back in 2013, but was brought back in 2020 to help finish Halo Infinite, and he's currently listed as the head of creative for the game. Staten is staying with Microsoft, though, and will work in Xbox's broader publishing division, according to the email from Hintz.
This isn't the first high-profile departure from 343. Recently, in December, Halo Infinite's multiplayer creative director, Tom French, left the studio as well.
Yeah, so the amount of high-profile departures naturally invites a lot of questions about the future of Halo. We'll go over the audience reaction to this news in a bit.
First, though, the layoffs have created fertile ground for disgruntled workers to air grievances, with several former 343 Industries employees criticizing incompetent management on social media.
Patrick Wren, a former senior multiplayer designer on Halo Infinite, blasted incompetent leadership up top, tweeting, quote, "The layoffs at 343 shouldn't have happened, and Halo Infinite should be in a better state."
I think I agree with both of those sentiments.
Pretty easy to agree with both of those.
Ren, who is now at Respawn working on Jedi Survivor, I can't wait, went on to say, quote, "The people I worked every day with were passionate about Halo and wanted to make something great for the fans. They helped push for a better Halo and got laid off for it."
Nicholas Bird, an artist who previously worked on Halo Infinite, replied to Ren saying, "Don't forget the heavy reliance on contractors/vendors and that messed up system."
Mm-hmm. He added, quote, "I would have loved to stay on the team if I could have and worked my way up. Still one of my favorite jobs I've been at."
Composer Stephen Barton, who worked on Gran Turismo and Apex Legends, wrote in response to Ren's tweet, "Well, I guess the only sad thing is that there will be little impact on those responsible for the incompetence, only on those laid off."
Tyler Owens, a former 343 employee who is now at Respawn, tweeted, quote, "As a Halo fan, I'm really tired of Microsoft business practices and policies slowly killing the thing I love. He added that, quote, between the contracting policies they abuse for tax incentives and layoffs in the face of gigantic profits and executive bonuses, they set Halo up for failure.
Yeah, the Halo community is making their disappointment known as well. YouTuber Eckhart Slater accused Microsoft of neglecting its signature franchise, tweeting, "Halo built Xbox. It is Xbox. Damn, does the franchise deserve better." He called for a Star Wars-style reboot of the franchise, which I think, a lot of people would accept at this point.
Yeah, that's awesome. Over on the Halo subreddit, fans had a range of emotions to the layoffs and the subsequent comments from Ren and others.
Reddit user The Eternal Gazed said, "Staten was supposed to be the man who would turn Infinite around. Now Microsoft is doing shit like this. Halo is being murdered right in front of our eyes and no one is doing anything to save it."
User Q98 wrote, quote, "Out of all the bad news we've gotten since the game first came out, this is arguably the worst of all. Staten leaving is one of the worst case scenarios we could have gotten, and it's a reality now."
Yeah, still others think that 343 has had a really tough time trying to keep Halo afloat.
User ALPB11 wrote, quote, "For as much criticism as 343 deserve, it must be genuinely impossible to flesh out a game the scope of Halo when all the major players keep getting pushed out of the company."
Now, this adds to a growing sense that the future of Halo's not great, and it's been growing for a while. Ugh. It makes this particular blog post from last month from 343 ring a bit hollow when they said, quote, "We're committed to making Halo Infinite better with every single update."
Which is probably interesting because I bet the people that wrote it were definitely committed to it. They just didn't know they were going to get laid off. That's just one of those things that I'm sure above them they just weren't told. These layoffs are part of a trend across all gaming and honestly across all industries, with a few other companies also announcing layoffs in the past week. Engine and tools platform Unity Software announced that it would cut 284 jobs on January 17th, and that was after layoffs in June 2022 that were reportedly over 200.
Yeah, and this came out while we were in the middle of putting this story together. Riot Games confirmed layoffs to Eurogamer this very morning on January 19th, and that's after esports reporter Jacob Wolf reported on the event late last night. Total job loss there is 46, though Eurogamer notes that the company still has 150 open positions. That's something.
And the tech industry at large, of which Microsoft is obviously a very large part, has been shedding jobs like a winter coat. Last year, the entire industry laid off more than 150,000 people.
Where are they all going to go?
I don't know.
Yeah, Amazon reported their total layoffs would hit 18,000. That's somehow almost double the previously reported 10,000 job cuts back in November.
So despite closing down Stadia, Google is the only big tech company that hasn't announced massive layoffs, with many assuming it is a win, not if kind of situation for that.
Yeah, God, I hope that the year can go by and they don't have to slash any jobs or anything like that.
Yeah.
We need people out there hiring right now. Geez. Yeah, because we got a bad situation. There's a lot of job applicants out there searching for opportunities that can hopefully pay at least equivalent to their tech jobs. But, tech's not hiring right now. And as of right now, there's 10,000 more qualified employees on the job market. It's going to be difficult to find the same pay rates that they were probably getting at Microsoft. So, man, my heart goes out. That sucks.
Yep, it just all the way around sucks. Somebody in my chat had popped in and they were like, "Did you see the news about Microsoft?" And I was like, "Yeah," because I had, and I didn't want to feel like I was just sort of like, "Yep," but it's so hard to not feel like it's just the same thing over and over and over. And Lawrence and I talk about this a lot. We were just talking about it off camera, where the person. Usually the people that are laying people off, the top management, let's say the top 20 people, 30 people, somehow they bring in a bonus or they're like, they get paid more, they get a raise or whatever, and then people get laid off. And it's constantly blowing my mind that this still happens. I have to call out one little tiny bright spot, which was Tim Cook took a 40% pay cut at Apple. And that's something to me that I'm like, wow. Okay, at least he's trying, right? At least they're trying to make sure that other people, because at this point, yeah, take a pay cut and keep 1,000 more people. Let 1,000 more people have their jobs there. It's just, yeah, it's probably going to happen for as long as we're alive, and it's always a bummer. And I don't want you to think that I'm not bummed out about it.
Yeah, no, words don't really do it justice. So I don't really try to convey how I feel, because even I feel like that's kind of defeatist. Because, yeah, the system is kind of set up to just keep spinning this way, which unfortunately innocent and hardworking people get caught up in the middle of it. So hopefully in the future, well, the megacorps might always be like this, but hopefully there will be a nice fertile layer of sustainable companies I saw a lot of game devs kind of pointing out the companies that don't go through this cycle and can just be sustainable. I saw Iron Galaxy actually come up in a couple conversations. So there are still some companies out there, you know, they don't have millions of employees, but there are some that do have an eye for sustainability and do try to pay their people well and conduct business in a sustainable way. So they exist. But yeah, I think once you get to a certain size, then you just kind of get infiltrated by people who they're just there to like play the game, get the number big and leave, do it again somewhere else.
A special sad tip of the Gamer Fedora to our friends in games media at Giant Bomb and GameSpot, who are also hit with layoffs today.
Yeah, times are tough out there. Really sucks. Makes us extra grateful for the loyal support of our patrons that we've had. We've been able to keep doing our brave work here and even expand them a little bit. So that's pretty cool. We're very grateful for that.
Yeah, thank you very much again. So yet again, our story today means that we can extend an extra genuine thanks to these patrons, to our Patreon: Aaron Fraze, Mason Hoover, Jared Watkins, and Sketchy on Patreon.
Yeah, and luckily it'll turn into some new content pretty soon. Like in a few days soon, we got some new stuff cooking up. So we're very appreciative. Yeah, Gypsy Nova, Maurice Thompson, Docs360, UESC Battleroid, and JAmbers87. Thank you very, very much.